People come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode, a special episode of Small Talk. With me, as you can see, I have three ladies, and we're going to talk about aging and maybe the challenges we have or how it affects us. So I'm going to get them to introduce themselves, starting with Laurie. Go ahead, Laurie.
Hi, good morning, Nancy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Laurie James. I have to admit to being a few steps closer to 86 than I want to admit to. But so far, good shape, good health. So I'm very happy for that and still enjoying life.
Okay. And next we have Mhora.
Mhora. I'm Mhora Ogmundson. I'm 65. I would like to be more like Laurie. I think she looks great.
Thank you.
I'm not in great health, but I do my best and just wake up in the morning. If I'm breathing, it's going to be a good day.
And then we have Lois.
Good morning, Nancy. Thank you so much, and hello, everybody. I'm Lois, and I'm 69 3/4. You know, as we get older, we kind of have those times on. So I'm going to be 70 in March, and I'm feeling relatively healthy. I really appreciate getting up every morning and being able to do so far what I want to do. Thanks, Nancy.
Right.
And I'm a March.
Pardon?
Sorry, I'm a March birthday as well.
Awesome.
And as most people know, I'm 73 and I'll be 74 in May. And not bad, you know, I do have some like deteriorating disc and like, you know, issues like that. But Laurie, I want to ask you, we'll start with you. What do you think was your greatest challenge as you're aging?
I don't think it started bothering me until the last year or two, and whether COVID closing us off had anything to do with that, I don't know. But you start thinking about things that you never thought you would think about. Things like, of course, cleaning out your house, and what are you going to leave for your kids to clean up after you're gone, and things like that. And it's not that I'm afraid of death. I think your fear is that it's going to come too soon, because I've just got so many more things I have to do. Yeah. And that's what you worry about. And if you're lucky enough to be in relatively good health, you can still enjoy getting out and getting out and so on. You have to try and push all of those fear thoughts away and say, well, when the time comes, the time comes. And I come from a family of longevity. All my uncles and aunts lived into great long ages. So maybe that's part of my DNA as well. But there's a certain anxiety that you have that maybe you can't quite put a finger on what it is. And that kind of bothers you once in a while. And of course, being shut up as we have been for a while, the loneliness of it hits you as well. And that's a great part of a lot of senior people, that maybe your family is far away and people don't come and visit you the way they used to, and so on. So there's that factor that again can possibly put you into a little bit of a depression, and sometimes that can be a bit difficult to deal with.
Yeah. So how about you, Mhora? What are some of your challenges?
Well, up to about 2009, I really had no challenges. I was healthy, I was busy, I was active. And for some reason in 2010, all hell broke loose. And it just seemed like if there was a disease to be had out there, I had it. And it kept layering and layering. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm not even 60 yet at that point. And there's a thing on my mother's side of the family, no women live past the age of 56.
Wow.
So, of course, my three sisters and I, as we approached the age of 56, we didn't want to go to bed the night before in case we didn't wake up the next day.
Oh my.
Um, but I'm happy to say I have a sister that's 80, and I have a sister that's 70, and one that's 68. So, but yeah, the challenges have just been sort of adapting every day. Every day I have to sort of change something so that I can either eat, or so that I can get enough sleep, or so that I'm not in pain. It's a real nuisance. It's starting to really irritate me.
Right.
I don't let it stop me. I try and do as much as I can and be as involved as I can. And I, unlike a lot of other people, found being able to stay home and do nothing for a year quite refreshing. I think it let me heal a little bit. We had a lot of, I had a daughter diagnosed with MS, and my 5.5-year-old grandson died suddenly
Oh
Christmas
my.
in 2015. And there were just so many things that happened. And I used that first year of COVID to just kind of take a deep breath. And I too cleaned out my house because my neighbor died from COVID, and I had to help her daughter clean out her house. And I too started thinking, what if this is me? What if my kids have to come and start wondering, where do we put things, or why did she keep this, or and
Right.
so I have cleaned out my house so many times. It's kind of funny. And I don't know if anyone else finds this, lack of sleep. I can't sleep at night.
Mm.
I worry all night long. I worry what's happening out on the streets. And in this town, it's easy to do. And I remember when I was younger, when I was in my 30s, I would look outside if I got up during the night, and I'd see older people at 5:30 in the morning out walking. And I think, good God, don't these people ever go to sleep? And now I'm one of them. I'm a night person. Yeah. So it's, there's been a lot of challenges, and being away from my children, that has been so hard for me. One is only in Pitt Meadows, but his wife is a nurse, and my daughter and her husband live in the West End in Vancouver. They're in a different health region. They have health challenges, and we had to vow to keep each other safe this year.
Yeah.
So I hugged my son for the first time in September, and hoping to be able to hug my daughter in December.
Very good. Yeah. Okay, Lois, we'll come to you now.
Thanks, Nancy. Challenges for me, I look at them. I think the biggest challenge for me was when all our kids left home. We had 5. And as each one left, we were going, ooh, this is getting more and more exciting. And so when the last one left, it was we needed to really deal with that big transition. And I think that was one of the first things I noticed about, I guess, aging, was all of a sudden now we have to readjust, we have to adapt, we have to move through these transitions, hopefully with grace. Some days I did and some days I didn't. I have been very lucky that my health has been relatively good, and like Laurie, there's longevity in our family. Lots of our ancestors lived a long time. So I think there's some genetics going on there for sure that I'm blessed with. I think the biggest challenge in the last few years was, with COVID and so on, was adapting to what was going on and how was it going to work for me. I really am grateful for technology in lots of ways, and Zoom has been a huge benefit to be able to maintain contact with family and maintain contact with, I still work, so with my clients. And that has been a real boom, right? For a boon, I'm not sure which word it's supposed to be. And like Mhora, I really appreciated when COVID started. I didn't appreciate COVID, but I appreciated the time to stop I think one of my biggest challenges is I always thought I should be doing something all the time. And COVID has really taught me to adjust to that. There is some sadness attached to that because you can't be necessarily near the ones you love. But the other part is to take good care of us, to take that time. I think Mhora was talking about sleep, and I don't worry. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll get up and read or watch a program or do something and then go back to sleep. And naps, I've learned to love naps. I'm quite proud of having a nap in the middle of the day if I need one. So and I know that shifts will occur in the future, probably today and tomorrow right away, that I need to adjust to. And I think, like we've all said, it's not keeping up with adjustments, being able to kind of roll with them and say, okay, how am I going to navigate this for me, for the best for me? So,
Very
that
good.
helps. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just thinking about my greatest challenge is reconciling my age in years to my mental age.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's such a big adjustment, because I still often I think I'm like 13, but I can't move around like a 13-year-old because, when I have to walk with a cane now, right? But I still have that immaturity, I like to call it, childish behavior, but which I don't want to ever lose, of course. But it's when I look in the mirror and I'm thinking, who is that person? Like, that's not how I see myself. And it's like a shock, like, whoa. So that's quite an interesting thing. And so as for sleep, I'm like Mhora, I don't sleep well. And now I'm constantly going to the bathroom, like constantly. So I have trouble staying hydrated. Talking to the doctor and he says, drink more. And I said, yes, but you know how much toilet paper I'm going through? Because I drink and up it goes, Now, I'm just going to talk about health. I was just wanting to ask all of you, like sometimes when I talk to my doctor about a health issue, I almost feel dismissed. Well, it's part of the aging process. Yeah, but why is it happening? Like, is there, other than pills, other than medication, is there something that I can do about it? Laurie, do you have anything like that?
Exactly. I have been having this dry cough for a long time. You cough and cough and cough. And I asked my doctor a long time ago, could I go see an ear, nose, and throat man? Oh, no, you don't have to do that. Well, why not? Why not? Why don't you want to make an appointment, ask for an appointment, do something to, if for no other reason, to pacify that patient. And so your patient feels like something is being done and you're being looked after. So that's a part of our healthcare system that I don't care for. What was one other thing you said about, your mental age? Yes. I mean, here I am 85. How did I get to be 85? Because I don't feel, how are you supposed to feel? Because you're 85. I feel I'm still in my 30s. And that's the age that you stay at, I think, until either you go into dementia or whatever. But I think that's just a part of our humanness that we can't deal with that image in the mirror. But what's worse is if you look at a picture that somebody took of you and you say, no, that's not the same face that's in the mirror. I look horrible. But the other two ladies are talking about, you're still in your 60s. When I was in my 60s, I don't think I gave any thoughts about, hey, the end might be soon. So when I hear somebody say, I'm still in my 60s, you're a kid. Wait till you're 85.
So Mhora, like you mentioned, you have health issues now.
Yes.
With your doctor, whatever like that. Is your doctor really good? Like, do they listen to you?
Fantastic. It's funny because I had the same doctor in this town. I think I started with him when I was 7 or 8. And one day when I went to see him, he said, I have to tell you I'm retiring. And I said, well, how come? Well, he was 70 years old. So it was hard to get a new doctor. And this would have been, I guess, in about 2012. So I was using a lot of walking clinics, but I got this kind of brush off thing the whole time, right?
Right.
Yeah, that stuff happens as you get older, and once you go through menopause, and the babble that they give you. And then a friend of mine needed a kidney, and our blood types were the same. So I thought, well, apparently I'm in good health because I was told that. So I'll go through the testing and I will have a kidney. I'll give somebody a kidney. So I went to Vancouver, went through a day full of testing, and they called me back the next day and said, you need to come back here. And I got all excited because I thought, I'm going to give a kidney to somebody. And it turned out I was going to become a very long-term patient of theirs.
Wow.
And one of the specialists told me was, you have to be in control. Your illnesses are your illnesses. We work for you. Never let your doctor put you off. You go into your appointments armed and with lots of research. And that's what I do now. So I go to my family doctor and I'll say, and I was having some hearing problems and some throat problems. And I went and I said, okay, I need to see an ears, nose, and throat person. Here's who you're going to send me to. And he said, yep, fine, not a problem. And I have to tell you, ladies, if you have to go to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, the new guy in town, Dr. Newton, is gorgeous. You have to go see him at least once.
He's in Chilliwack?
He's in Chilliwack. And he's just over where Banner's restaurant used to be. And let me tell you, he is so easy on the eyes. So try and get there once.
Dr. Newton, is it?
Newton, yes.
Okay.
He's fantastic. So that's kind of what I do now. And I always demand, I hate that word demand, but I always, when I have any lab work or any x-rays or any test done, I ask for a written report. I put it on a thumb drive.
Yeah.
And if I ever have to go see someone else, I hand them the thumb drive and I said, take some time and read this because I'm not going all through it with you.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
So I think you have to advocate for yourself, and you can't put up with their BS anymore.
Right.
Your doctor works for you.
I had,
Yes.
yes, it made me think about one time before I was in between doctors because mine had retired, going to the walk-in clinic, and I was telling this young doctor that I kept getting shingles. So I'm telling him, and he said, well, I'm the doctor. Let me diagnose you. You're not here to diagnose yourself. And I thought, wait a minute, isn't this my body?
Yeah.
Anyway, Lois. So what about you? How's your doctor? You have a good one?
I have a naturopath, and like the ladies, all of us here today, I went through some frustrating times with Western medicine. I'll use that word, Western medicine doctors. I felt like a number. They had 10 minutes for me if I was lucky. And oftentimes when I went in, I needed to have a conversation because it's my body. Yeah. I know what's happening inside it. I want to have a conversation about what that might mean. And talk about self-advocacy. That is one of the biggest things that I learned to do for myself, was say, you know what, this isn't working, and I don't like the way that I'm being treated. I don't like the way that you brush me off as if I don't know anything. So I began to look for alternatives, and I found a wonderful naturopath in Abbotsford, that's where I live, Dr. Coloma. And she and I have had our health, healing, wellness relationship for approximately 15 years. And I really believe that working with her has, in a large part, kept me healthy and feeling vibrant. And the advocacy piece is huge. And I think as we grow older, we're not afraid to use our voice. I mean, before we go, okay, well, this is the way it is. And I come from a generation, I mean, my dad's 96, and, the doctor is, knows quote unquote everything. And my dad and I have these conversations. It's like, and my dad's a self-advocate for sure.
Right.
But he grew up with that type of health care. That's what he knows. And it doesn't work for everybody, and it certainly doesn't work for me. And that's why I went looking for alternatives, and I'm very happy that I did.
Very good. You know, I now, like, I've changed some of the things the way I do it. Right after my husband had cancer, so he was with me to the end. Like, I took care of him till the end, and then about 6 months after that, one day my blood pressure just shot up over the roof, and I went to my doctor, the doctor I had at that time, and he immediately put me on blood pressure medication. Right? Never gave me, and I didn't think about it at the time. Never gave me or my body a chance to adjust, because even though it was 6 months later, it doesn't hit you right away. Right?
Uh-huh.
You don't realize the stress you're going through taking care of somebody who in bad health.
Right.
So then I was listening to somebody put me in touch with a Dr. Bernard on YouTube, and he talked about the body, and he said, when you're on medication for blood pressure, your body no longer knows how to regulate itself. So then I had a new doctor, a little bit more open, and I suffer side effects from all kinds of medications, so I don't like taking stuff. So I told him I wanted to come off blood pressure medication, because most doctors say you have to stay on forever. I've learned that is not true.
Right.
So the doctor sat with me and he said, it depends on why you're on it. If it's stress related, all you have to do is learn how to handle your stress, So I'm off blood pressure medication. And I know when I'm stressing, I can feel it, right? So I have to talk myself out of that mindset, So like all of you said, it's so important to be our own advocate, whether it's a traditionalist or a traditional doctor or a naturopath, it doesn't matter, right? If we're not in control, why are we giving our power away to some person who, because they went to school, know better? They know things in books, they know a lot, and I will never take that away from them. But if they're not living inside our body, ultimately, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I've been so fortunate to have the specialists that I have that are willing to work with me. And I actually have a homeopath I see as well.
good.
And they're willing to share information, which I just found extraordinary.
Yeah.
That they would share information with him, and he was able to bring something to the table that they hadn't thought of. And I liked that they worked together. I had like Nancy, a blip with my blood pressure, and we decided to try niacin. And I remember when my husband had been on niacin, and I thought, well, do I want to go through that kind of, flushing? But that's all I needed, was just to have a little bit of control. And he said, I can't cure a lot of your things, but I can help you with the side effects of some of the medications that I think you need to be on, with the doctors at St. Paul's. So they work very well together.
That's very good. Yeah. I'm currently only on medication for high cholesterol, because for some reason I tend to have high cholesterol, and a specialist told me that some people are just prone to it. Doesn't matter what your diet is, and I happen to be one of those people. So
Me too.
and I don't have side effects from it. So I'm fine. I've tried doing things like CBD oil and things like that, but no effects, none whatsoever. Anyway, I just want to turn back to getting back to the loneliness for some people. Like, I don't have that problem because I've always been a loner in the family, even though, we're a family of 12 kids. I was sick a lot when I was young, so I often spent that time alone, just the way it was, right? So I guess I adjusted to that. But I love Zoom because we can do things like this. Mm-hmm. If I'm feeling I need to be in touch with the people and I can't do it physically, just invite somebody to be on Zoom with me. And it's opened a whole world. Like, I can interview anybody, no matter where they are. So it's broadened my horizons. So I'm okay. I'm okay with, I wish COVID would be over. I want it to be over, by the way, in 2 years for my 75th birthday, because I want to have a big bang party. And all invited.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
So now let's just talk about, Laurie, what are you looking forward to as we're in this, period in our life? Like, I know your son lives in Texas, right?
Yes, and I'm, excuse me, going to be leaving November 9th and going down there for 2 months. They've invited me to stay for 2 months, so I'm really looking forward to that because it's been 2 years now since I've been able to be down there.
And it's something you've always done, right? And like almost.
Yes, it's always been once or twice a year that I've gone down for a visit. So that's and not just for the good weather, of course, just for being with your family and just enjoying their company again. But you were talking of going back to being lonely. You were saying even you come from a family of 12 and you can still feel lonely. I was just thinking of that recently because I think I've been the same, always the loner or the black sheep of the family. Mm-hmm. There were 3 boys came before me. The youngest of the 3 is 3 years older than me. So you can imagine when all of a sudden you have a baby girl. Now that girl has to be protected, keep away from the boys, don't play rough with her. And as I got older, it's play by yourself. And then 3 others came along later. Well, now I'm the babysitter of those. I don't belong to either side. Right. And so there was that really a lifelong feeling of I don't belong anywhere. And that has really carried with me through my whole life, whether you at times are cognizant of that or not. I think it has kept me separated. And then, of course, there was a religious issue came in it, and I wasn't on that side. So again, there's another divide that keeps you isolated, as it were, emotionally. So there's a lot of things like that you carry with you into your old age. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that within other people as well, and with some of my relatives, because there was like an uncle or an aunt the same way that had that issue, and so there's a part of that you have to deal with in old age too. And
yeah, Mhora, what are you looking forward to? If I'm not assuming you are. I'm just asking if you are.
I am just looking forward to going and watching my grandsons play basketball again. Just being able to have lunch with my kids and my grandkids. To me, that's everything. Like trip, I don't care about stuff like that. It's being with my family again.
Yeah.
I kind of have had a hankering that I do want to go to Gimli, Manitoba. But I think I'll wait till next year for that. And other than that, I just want to see my family. I want to be in the same room with all of them. Zoom has been great. Don't get me wrong. I have a sister in Austria, and so it's been wonderful to be able to chat with her. And I just want to be with I want to see my grandkids. I want to be able to watch them grow up.
Yeah,
sure. Lois, what's for you in the future? What's coming up, or what are you looking for?
Yeah, and getting back to the lonely piece, I think that, like Laurie said, I've always been busy and responsible. I was the oldest, and so I was always like this, the second mom, if I could put it that way. Mm-hmm. And then we had 5 kids. We're a blended family, so we had 5 kids. And all their friends. So the house was always busy. So this time with less people around has actually been quite comfortable for me. I haven't had the opportunity to feel, or I don't know if it's an opportunity, I haven't had the experience of feeling lonely. And I think that's because I've always been surrounded by so many people and so many things to do. So this is a time in my life that I get to explore what I'm interested in. I get to explore me a little bit, come to understand my needs and so on. And I do look forward. I think the one thing that I look forward to spending is more time, as Mhora said, with my grandchildren. I mean, they grow up so fast. And I just actually saw the boys last weekend, and I couldn't believe the shift in just, a month and a half since I'd seen them. So I think I'm very comfortable with myself, with being alone.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean we're lonely. And there's so much to do. And if we need to be in touch with someone, we can use Zoom, but I do have to say there's nothing quite like the energy that is when you're close to somebody, and to be able to hug someone, touch someone. That's something that I think we've all missed. And if I can add a little piece to that, my mom is in care at the moment. She's 92 and she has Alzheimer's. And, not being able to be there, there's been so many times that everybody's been in lockdown.
Yes.
So there's been no opportunity to touch her, to be with her. And so last Sunday we went
Sorry,
to
that's my phone.
last Sunday we went to visit, and she was in a deep sleep, as some Alzheimer's patients often do. And I sat with her, let her sleep, and I was just there with her. So there's something to be said about being with somebody and yet not saying a word. There's something quite sacred about that. Thanks, Nancy.
Very good. Well, I just personally say, like, my son lives in China. My daughter was in Chilliwack, but I encourage her to move out to, she's in Delta. I have stepchildren. One's in Austria, one's in Penticton, and the grandchildren are with them. My children, my biological children don't have children of their own. I've missed my daughter the most because, not the most. I shouldn't say that. I miss her. We were closer because she lived closer. Mm-hmm. My son was going to come out to Canada. He has been away for like 17 years, just to renew his visa or something like that, just before COVID hit, and then that was canceled. So that part, not being able to see them on a regular basis, is really, really tough. But on the other hand, I am really and truly having the best time of my life. I love doing my show. I just got an opportunity. I just did a commercial for a local realtor, Matt Paisley. And that was just fun. I had like maybe 3 lines, but it was so much fun. If I get a chance to MC something or anything, to me, it's just the ultimate. And to do this for me is just fabulous. This is what keeps me positive, because it's all part of the fun. I can put up with bad health. I can tolerate a lot of things, right? Yeah. But as long as there's a part of my life where I'm having fun, my family, when I do get to see them, the one thing we're really good at is laughing, laughing at each other and with each other. Anyway, so thank you, ladies. I think I'm going to end at this point. I thank you very much, all of you, for doing this with me. And just down the line, I say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed listening to our, what we're going through and what we're experiencing. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. It's just part of life. That's just the way it is. And if you watch this on YouTube, hopefully you'll subscribe. If you want to be on the show, send me a message. Always happy to have everybody on. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone. Peace out, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.